Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, as you know, and I'm joined today by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay. Now, Ryan, I've gone from Happy Monday to tell me why I don't like Mondays after Saturday's debacle, but there you go. Rangers 3, Celtic 0. We'll pour over that in the fullness of time. But hey ho, these things happen. Celtic are still the champions, Ryan, and League Cup winners and on course for our world record 8th treble. So we can console ourselves with that, can we not?
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about perspective, I would say.
Yes.
Saturday was a difficult one, but we go again. We've got another game at the weekend to try and make things right. So, we never stop, regardless if we do stop during the game. It's always about the next game.
Temporarily halted, I think was the phrase I used, Ryan, for Saturday. But there you go. Morning, everybody. How are we doing? And today marks the 30th anniversary of Celtic Park, the old jungle's last stand. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your comments in the section about the old jungle. Give me your memories from that. We'll talk about them as well. So, 30 years to the day, 15th of May 1993, Celtic beat Dundee 2-0, and it was the end of the old jungle, Celtic Park, as we know it. So, there we go. Now, first and foremost, I'll direct your attention to the ticker tape running along the bottom of your screen. And I'll just flick up this graphic. There you are. Why don't you try us out for 1 year for £12? And you subscribe to the Celtic Way website and support top quality journalism covering the club you love. It'll cost you £12 for a year for a click of a button. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. You get a year of unlimited access to everything that's written on the website for £12. Represents great value for money, Ryan, don't you think?
Without a doubt, that's £1 a month basically for your next year. So you can't really grumble at that whatsoever. It's a good price for some good pieces.
And you cannot grumble at that at all. And you might even see the likes of myself, Ryan, and Aidan wax lyrical about the club you love. Click of a button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. We say thank you to everybody who has clicked that button already and are enjoying the content that we provide. Okay, Ryan, we can't avoid it any longer. Rangers 3, Celtic 0 on Saturday. Lessons learned. What did we learn from that, Ryan?
I think we learned a couple of things, especially about the fringe players that get a chance. I was speaking about this in an article that I'd done. Yeah, I don't think we're as strong and our strength and depth is as big as what I thought it was. But you don't know these things unless you try them out. And I think Ange will have learned a lot from Saturday about some of the players that did come into the team. If you don't have players like Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, you're going to struggle because a team like us, they're our best players, they're our best defensive players. So the players that came in to replace them just aren't as good, unfortunately. But I think it was a weaker team. I don't want to use that as an excuse, but the players that were on the park, they still have a job to do, and there was a lot of really, really flat performances. But at the same time, you look at some of the chances that we had, especially right after Rangers score through Cantwell. I mean, that chance from O, he's got to score that. He's got to burst a net for me. But it's one of those ones where you were saying at the start of the podcast, if out of the 5 games you were to pick one game to lose, it would be the dead rubber when everything else is basically finalised. So I guess that's one positive to take out of it, but it was a really, really bad day at the office.
Yeah, I think we would all agree about that. Lots of comments coming in, so I'll read them as we go through, guys. Okay, so let's start. Say morning to everybody. Ciao, pal. This result will have shown Ange your strength and depth isn't good enough. I wrote an article to that effect. After it, my verdict, I will put it up in the comment section. If you haven't read it, I'll dig that out and have a look at it. Michael Ross not wanting to be overcritical of Vogt as he hopefully will develop under Ange, but we really need a first team ready quality striker to challenge Kyogo for next season. Fair enough. And Andrew Gilly, Ange is looking towards next season already. Players need to be able to cope with situations like last weekend. Lots of lessons. Michael Ross says, had no service. One big chance, blew it, Ryan, but he did get stabbed. Well, decent service, I'll give him that.
Without a doubt.
If O scores and Abada also scores, different game, fine margins. We didn't take our chances. Rangers against Rangers. Ange will learn a lot from that game. I conjecture that he will. 2, it was a midfield that's let us down. I'm not sure they played as per Ange's instructions. Only them though. Good morning, ladies and gents. Good morning, Derek. Poor result performance. They wanted it more. Passing was terrible. A few players who started were simply miles off it. Lessons will be learned though. I think that's the kind of thrust of it all. Rangers game is a good challenge for the fringe players, says Simon Thomas. Video feedback will give coaching staff points to focus on for player development. Sure it will. Don Quadrado says, take 3 of the first choice back 4 out, start living, and the results are there for everyone to see. Everyone in that back 4 struggled. Be with that. Yeah, it just shows you how much the glue that is Cameron Carter-Vickers keeping that defence together. Ryan, and also, as you say, missing 2 other big players in Alistair Johnston and Greg Taylor. Strachan's laptop was a good way to gauge some squad players. Yep, agree with that. CJ7, we need better fringe players. They aren't the quality we need. I think that's kind of the thrust of the argument, isn't it? Well, Robert Gibson, I was livid at the weird and flop mode attitude. And John Boy 1888 says, by far the worst performance of the Ange era. Lessons must be learned. Wrong team selection, and we need to learn to play around the press better for you, or Europe could be horrific. Lots of varying degrees of comments there, Ryan. What do you make of it all?
As you would expect, I think if you get beat off your greatest rivals, then you are going to see some varying comments of varying degrees because of what it is. It's a derby defeat at the end of the day, and that's always really sore, regardless of how you do it. I know we get beat 3-0, which was a particularly tough one to take, especially as we've been playing so well this season. It feels like a result that's really out of context and out of character for the team. I think that was the biggest shock for me. I think there are quite a lot of merited comments, but I think we've also got to take this game out of context because look at the players that we're missing as well. You take Carter-Vickers out of that team, it's a completely different team. And you've seen everybody feeds off Cameron Carter-Vickers. You see it, the confidence that guy brings you when he's playing at the back. The rest of the team looks comfortable. When he's not playing, the team is going to be weakened. And for a team like Celtic, a £6 million defender, if you take him out of the team is going to be weakened as a result. So, I mean, with him, you've got a £4 million defender in Alistair Johnston, £4 million. You take them out of the team, then you're going to struggle, as well as Greg Taylor, who's been one of our best players this season. So it was a bit of a makeshift backline, and it was one that didn't really work over the course of the game. I don't really want to pass too much blame onto Starfelt because I thought he was the best out of the 4. It was like the best out of a bad bunch, you would say. But he's usually in and around there, so he was the only one that was sort of the regular in that team. But a really disappointing result. And it's quite gutting to talk about it, but it's one that you have to talk about because you've got to take the highs and the lows together. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. And there's always the next game to sort of make it right.
Correct. Now, more comments coming in. I'm just going to flick these up because everybody wants their say, and I'll give you your say. Plunge McNugget says, we need a new spine in the team, a goalkeeper, centre-back, midfielder, striker. Kaiser, morning Kaiser. How you doing? We learn dropping in fringe first, a big game doesn't always work. They had the opportunity to impress, but let it pass them by. That's kind of how I feel too. Les Watt says, I'm not surprised, but disappointed. We go again in the cup. No complaints from me. That's Les saying that. Michael Ross, disappointed, but I'm not reading too much into that result. Now, I said to you the other day that it was a dead rubber, which always matters, but it was in terms of the league title, a dead rubber. And I did say before we came on air that on the series of games that Celtic played Rangers, a league game, the Scottish Cup semi-final and the League Cup final, and also Ibrox, if we were to lose one, I would have taken the one at Ibrox, and that's how it turned out. So I'm not too despondent either, Ryan. You have to dissect it, you have to look at it, pour over it. Not always enjoyable. And Kaiser, with the word of the day, Ange always says you learn more from one defeat than 1,000 victories. So there'll be a cornucopia of lessons for Ange in this squad. Cornucopia, Ryan, there you go. Word of the day. Kaiser takes that. Well done, Kaiser. Chris McCaverty says, you know it's a bad day when Cal Mack was miles off it, and he was. And Hazel Finn making a valid point. Still think that the lack of support affects Celtic. It was the same during the COVID season. Dermot 40. Morning, Hazel. How you doing? Dermot 40. Morning, Dermot. Think we need to clear out this summer of the load of the driftwood. Fair enough. And Robert Gibson, it was for all intents and purposes a cup final for Rangers and a bounce game for Celtic. So there you go, Ryan. Lots of people disappointed, but not the end of the world type thing.
Yeah, it's all about looking about the bigger picture, as I've mentioned once or twice already. You've got to look at where we are. We're on course for a treble. If we win the cup final, our points total is still going to be incredible. It's just a bad day at the office. I just think Rangers did want it more. You've seen that between the two sides. Their midfield did want it more. You even see it in the stats when you look back in the game, the amount of pressures that Rangers had. They had almost double Celtic, so they were desperate to get them. It was quite mental to have a look at like the possession stats, because it didn't feel as if we had the majority of the ball because we weren't really doing too much with it, but we did have over 60% of the possession. I think it was 67%. So yeah, it was quite interesting to see that. But you can have all the ball that you want, but if you're doing nothing with it, then there's no point. And Rangers were obviously useful with whatever percentage of the ball that they did have, because they get 3 goals and we get none, which is gutting. But you've got to take the rough with this move, and you've got to move on. It's just one of those results. You've just got to take it.
Jason Mudgard comes in. Ange's a winning manager, but in the words of Francie and Josie, nobody's inflammable. Quite like that. That's for those who remember Francie and Josie. There you go. Now, on the website today, Ryan, there is an article by Stuart Ross, and he is saying the wrong Rangers calls will turn out to be the right ones for Celtic long term, kind of using statistical analysis to kind of back up what I was saying on Saturday. And there's your own, the Celtic numbers, isn't that right? The Stats Bomb report.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Put that up as well. Do you want to give people a flavour for that? What's in that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say it's an enjoyable read, because we're obviously talking about Celtic getting beat 3-0, but I think it's quite an insightful piece, looking at the sort of metrics that go along with the games, looking at XG, looking at the on-ball values, OBV, and there are some interesting statistics to go with it. I was writing that all of yesterday. It was a bit of a deep dive into something that happened the day previous, so it was reopening some very, very new wounds, you would say. But it's an insightful read, and anybody that reads it, I hope they enjoy it, or they enjoy it as much as they can do. And
I'll put up the link to my big match verdict, which got a lot of traction yesterday or Saturday. I think it was yesterday actually. Yeah, so you can have a read at that, guys, and you can see where I'm coming from on it. There it is. There you have it. My opinion on Saturday's game, which sort of talks about the fact that some of the fringe players may not be good enough, and Ange has earned the right to get some Champions League ready, oven ready players for the Champions League to cope and get reinforcements and replacements for those who might go out the door in the summer. So enjoy those 3 guys as 3 excellent reads. I would encourage you to read them all for different kind of perspectives on Saturdays. What would you call it? A debacle, Ryan? Disappointment, eh? Temporary setback.
A blip. It's just a blip.
Temporary hiccup in the grand design, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, temporary halted. And FS comes in and says, no criticism of Ange, anyone. Well, lots of people were saying, FS, that he picked the wrong team. My argument is, did he? And was this kind of warning shot over the bow to the above and saying, look, our strength and depth maybe isn't as good as we think, and I need better players to take for this team to evolve again and be something on the European stage. So that was where I'm coming from on my kind of take.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my tune either. When the team came out, I was quite happy with it because I did want to see these players getting tested in an environment such as Ibrox. I wanted to see how Bernabe, Kobayashi, even, well, not Abada, to be fair, he's done it before against Rangers, but those two players in particular, Kobayashi and Bernabe, I wanted to see if they were up to it. And I'm not going to change my tune because we get beat 3-0. I still think it was a worthwhile exercise for Ange to see that these players maybe they're not up to it. I know they're still two young players, and I don't want to go in too much on Kobayashi because I think that was his first sort of real poor performance. I know he had maybe a mixed game against Hearts the week prior, but he still kept a clean sheet at the end of the day. And this 3-0 game, I'm not going to write him off because he's 22 years old, and he's still making his way in the game. He's in a new country and a new culture, so I think we need to be careful not to write players off so quickly, but I think there's other players that really should have taken their chance and they didn't.
Okay, that's a good quarter of an hour discussing the events of Saturday, Ryan. Do we wish to dwell on it any longer, or shall we dwell on more positive things and talk about Player of the Year awards, both at club level and at PFA level, where Celtic kind of dominated and swept the boards? For those of you who were unaware of the awards taking place last night at the PFA Awards, Ange Postecoglou was voted the Manager of the Year. Kyogo Furuhashi was Player of the Year, and Jota got the goal of the season with his chip against Rangers in the 4-0 game. And Malik Tillman got the Young Player of the Year award, and that's PFA Scotland is voted by the players themselves. Now, at Celtic's own awards, Matt O'Reilly won the Young Player of the Year. Jota goal was the goal of the season, the chip against Rangers. Kyogo was the top goal scorer and the Players' Player of the Year and the Player of the Year. And Caitlin Hayes won the Players' Player of the Year and Player of the Year for the women's team. Bit of a roll call there. Ryan, well done to them all, we say, and congratulations. And it's kind of no surprise that Celtic have swept the boards.
Yeah, it's been a great season. You've just got to look past Saturday's result. I know we're not going to talk about it anymore, but on the whole, it has been an absolutely phenomenal season. It's important to remember how good a season it has been, and especially for Kyogo. I know he didn't score at the weekend, but a 30-goal season's incredible for him, keeping up the good form that he showed last season. I know he had that injury and in the middle of it that kind of curtailed his season a bit, but Kyogo, for me, was the worthy winner of this award. I mean, how many games did he keep us in it with his goal-scoring ability? He's really shown he is the top dog in Scotland when it comes to goal-scoring. And he'll be annoyed that he didn't score on Saturday. He'll be thinking, how can I put things right against St Mirren on Saturday? That's just his mentality. That's the way he rolls. And obviously all the other award winners, that was great as well. Jota winning goal of the season. I think it was goal of the season. I know we spoke about this last week. You've got to take the context of that goal as well. It's not just the actual quality of the goal. It's when he scored and how he scored and the angle that he used to score. So for me, I thought it was a no debate. I thought it was the standout goal in that list of goals. So he's worthy of his award, and the celebration just added to it for me. Everything about that, I could watch it 100 times in a row and not get bored of it. It's one of those. It feels. I don't want to compare the two because Larsson's obviously a legend, but it reminds me of that goal that he scored, that chip over Stefan Klos in the derby. That's like my generation's Larsson chip. So I've got a real sort of affinity with that goal.
Well, that's why it was goal this season, both at the PFA Awards and Celtic's Player of the Year Awards as well. Pete G coming in and saying, someone explained to me how Malik Tillman's the best young player in Scotland. I've not seen enough of Malik Tillman, Pete, to suggest otherwise. I did see him in the games against Celtic, and I don't think he showed up positively. But and I think that's a good gauge for players getting these kind of awards. But if he's doing the business against all the other teams, then who are we to turn around and say that he's not a Player of the Year? Because I don't watch him in depth, so I'll bow to other people's knowledge on Malik Tillman as a player. But whenever I have seen him in the flesh against Celtic, I've not been overly impressed. Let's put it that way. But hey, it is what it is. That's what these fellow professionals say, and they marked him as the young player of the year. So be it. And good for the women's team as well. Caitlin Hayes sweeping the boards there. Ryan, she's had a wonderful season. We'll talk about the women's team probably as we go on during the week. But what a shootout that's going to be on the final day.
I know, 3 horse race in the final day. You don't see that often. Absolutely brilliant result on Thursday. Obviously, I wasn't on the briefing on Friday, so it was great that they kept themselves in it, and then they get another win at the weekend. So you've got to be in it to win it, and yeah, it's great for the women's team that they still have an opportunity to win the league, even in the last game of the season. Can't really ask for much more.
Yeah, Alan. Now, Pete McGee says, I've seen quite a bit of Rangers on the telly this season, Tony, and he doesn't stand out as the best young player in Scotland. Is he better than O'Reilly or Abada, for example? I've
got to be honest, I think he is a good young player. I think he is going to improve as the years go on. He is only 20 at the end of the day, and his numbers are good for a 20-year-old.
Well, that's fair enough. I'll bow to that. As I say, I've only ever, close up and personal when he's played Celtic. It's not overly impressed me, but I listen to other people who tell me he's a cracking young player, so I'll go with that. So there you go. Vincent O'Brien comes in. Cheer up, everyone. Celtic are going to win the treble. Hail, hail. There you go. Celtic playing Inverness and Carly Thistle in the final. Which got found in the third. On you go, Ryan, sorry.
Kyogo won his own treble last night with his trophies. I thought that was a great picture last night of Kyogo with the 3 trophies that he'd won. And I did tweet out saying I hope that's not the only treble he wins this season. He can get used to winning that. Yep. Let's hope at the start of June, let's hope he can get his second treble.
Scott Howe comes in. Rangers are delighted to win one game against us. How times have changed. Celtic have set the standards. Roll on the cup final. I think that's what everybody's thinking now, isn't it, Ryan?
Yep, all eyes are on the cup. Yes, we've got other games as well. We're still playing. I mean, they are still big games. So you think about playing Hibs, Aberdeen, St Mirren. Still 3 games. It's 3 games left in the season.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's still 9 points up for grabs. Still could be on a really, really good points total. And I think it's another chance for those fringe players that maybe did disappoint in Saturday's game to show what they're about in other games. We can't just write players off or after one game, and one game that was effectively a dead rubber in some ways. So there's another 3 games for them to show that they can make it in this Celtic team, and if they're given their chance, let's hope they take it. But I think maybe Ange will be having second thoughts, and he'll be wanting to play maybe some of his other players after Saturday. But it's completely his call.
Yes, Kaiser coming in. Caitlin Hayes has been fantastic. A joy to watch. From what I've seen of her, she certainly has. Listen, I say we don't particularly want to dwell on Saturday. I mean, that's not saying we won't touch upon it again and speak about it, but that's just there is not a lot of positives there, is there, to be taken from it?
There's none.
You learn, you take your medicine, you take your dumps, as they say, and you move on. Paul Byrne saying Ange got it wrong. Simple. Short and sharp and sweet, or bitter, basically, with that one. But there you go. There is no kind of silver lining to that other than the fact it was a dead rubber, as I've said, and it was the game out of all of those games in the series of games against Rangers that came in a short space of time that I would have bitten the hand off if somebody said pick one to lose. That's the one I would have lost. When the league was sewn up and. So it went to plan. It went to my own personal plan. Nobody likes losing to Rangers. Nobody likes losing 3-0 to Rangers. But we dust ourselves down and we move on, don't we?
Without a doubt, there's still so many positives to take from this season. You're right. If there was one game that we would choose to lose, it would be this one. The dead rubber, as we've called it probably about 20 times in this briefing already. I don't mind calling it a dead rubber now. Maybe not so much before the game, but... I tuned just a wee bit, but yeah, we move on. We dust ourselves down and we dust ourselves off, and we move on. We still get so much to play for. We get the cup final to look forward to, and people will forget about this in the next 2-3 days. It's one of those ones we've got so many positives to take, and we just need to keep on moving forward.
Robert Gibson, it's kind of us speaking about a loss. Tell us about it. She's like happy Monday, Robert. There you go. Chris D, Ange's lost, 2 in 70 games? Are people here serious? You know how it goes, Chris. But I'm not too fussed or overly fussed. Most is like comes in, we move on indeed. So there you go. It's Andrew Gillier saying the post-game video review would have been interesting. Definitely.
I think the decibels in the room would have been quite loud as well.
Yeah. Paul Bernstein talking about the game, not the season, and says he pays the players who deserve to play. He lied. I'm not so sure about that. There you go. And Francis PC and Natasha Flint has a spark about her, especially in the boots. And Peak Week G coming in. Losing isn't the issue for me. It's the fact that was the most decisive win of all the derbies this season. So Rangers now think they're the world champions. Rangers can think they're the world champions. G. Celtic are on the table. Yeah, there you go.
We won 4-0 earlier on in the season. So
yeah,
it was Celtic that got the biggest one.
Correct. Yes, just pointing that out. Indeed. So there you go. Well, CG7 Champions League coming soon. We're definitely to strengthen in them areas. Yep, Scott Howe coming in with your comments saying Celtic beating Rangers 4-0, and Dunhallow LP. Ange knew exactly what he was doing for the derby. I kind of think that as well. He knew exactly what he was doing. Correct. So yeah, it's all Celtic won 4-0 when it counted. Alan Woods. So yeah, lots of different takes on Saturday's result. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and they're all valid. No right or wrong, whatever you think. So we are flicking up as many comments as we can. Helen Finn, cheer up, folks. They still have to pass an empty trophy cabinet for a season. Very, very true. Yeah. So I'm most comforted by that, Ryan, that Celtic will be playing in a few weeks' time to win a world record 8th treble if they can defeat Inverness Caledonian Thistle in the final. And Joe Curran comes in. Yes, Tony at the Jungle brings back memories. He learned songs there that didn't go down too well at school in mass, but he loved them all the same. I think that's a rites of passage, getting into the jungle and singing all sorts of songs, Ryan.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's where you learn to sing songs about the club that you love. Celtic songs, lots of great Celtic songs out there as well. But yeah, so get your comments in the jungle, guys, if you were fortunate and privileged to be in the jungle like I was. And yeah, it was one of those places when Celtic scored, especially against Rangers. There was an almighty sway, and you started at one point in the jungle and ended up as far removed from that spot as possible. Robert Gibson says the jungle was simply awesome. It was indeed a great place to watch football. Loved it. It was terrific. I even remember being in the jungle the night of the Rapid Vienna debacle, when the bottle came from the jungle and Celtic ended up having to replay the game down in Manchester. That was all yeah. So there you go. But there you have it. So yes, guys, get your comments, and ladies, get your comments coming in if you experienced the jungle in all its splendour and glory. Here's one here. Alan Woods, coming out the jungle was an experience in itself. It was indeed. But yeah, I mean, I don't. In the jungle, Tim the dog and the guy selling macaroons, Eric tablet macaroons, a spearmint chews, a chewing gum. Yeah, got a hat, scarves, badges, and tapes. Ryan. Yeah. That was a
this is all a wee bit before my time. I will be honest.
Ryan, yeah. The guy used to come round, and he had a kind of cardboard box, and he was selling his wares, and he used to say, "Era tablet, the macaroon, the spearmint chews, and the chewing gum." Sometimes it was the odd spam roll, or corned beef roll, cheese roll, that kind of thing. And and they would sell all sorts of them. the guys outside would sell the hats, scarves, badges, and tape decks. You're in the CD era and now downloading Spotify and all that and YouTube. But us analog people had tapes, Ryan. Tapes of Celtic songs and all that. All marvellous, can't beat it. But yeah, so he would walk about the Celtic end of the jungle and sell his wares, which was, and that's probably all you had to eat for ages. People will tell you, because the football was a great day out. They'd go to the pub and stuff like that, and then they'd eat a macaroon bar or a tablet bar, one of those things. Marvellous stuff. And FS saying Archie McPherson be slagged for his hair when he was in the gantry. The TV gantry was above the jungle, and it was kind of a TFI walkway that they walked across. And the abuse they would get, it was quite something to behold. Had to be thick-skinned. Was a regular here, Tony. Saw Celtic beat Rangers twice. Was that true? I saw Celtic beat it, and I got a certificate in the Jungle's last stand to say that you were there. I think I've still got that somewhere as well. Yeah, somewhere about the house. But
I definitely think my dad was part of the Jungle a couple of times. He talks about it. But I think it really does stand out when you look at the old videos of whenever Celtic score, and just that part of the stadium just goes absolutely ballistic. It's mental. It couldn't really happen nowadays. I know we've got a standing section, but it's very, very different to what that was. But it's definitely a thing of its time, and it added to the atmosphere back in those days, or at least it comes across like that when you look at it on videos.
Steve Cassidy, many happy memories of standing in the jungle, especially near the back. And Francis P.C. Green grew up in the jungle, tight fit, the lion sleep tonight. I remember the gantry in the toilets needed waders. I don't need to spell that out for you why that was the case. The good old days, people say. And Robert Gibson said, second pylon at the Celtic end, that was his magic spot for watching Celtic. And Bovril and a cold pie, nothing like it. Can it be a bit of nostalgia? Ryan, Kevin Ferrier, it was rocking. It was always rocking. It was a great place to watch football. Michael McDonald, if you were early enough, you got to see the commentators walking in. Some were more friendly than others. Leishman was a great laugh. He was indeed. Jim Leishman's a great guy. Told you, and Archie took it in great spirit as well. To be fair to him, guys like Archie and Arthur Montford, they were the two great commentators growing up. So yeah, Mark E comes in. Stood everywhere and anywhere. Used to get a great view near the pylon in the Rangers end where the Green Brigade stand now. There you go. So lots of people just reminiscing about where they stood in the old Celtic Park line. I love that. I was a main stand boy with my dad for up until I was like a teenager, and I was old enough to go on the bus, and I became a kind of jungle guy. But there you go. And then sometimes we stand at number 2 at the Celtic end with my dad and his friends. But yeah, Stephen Lennon saying he was a regular in the jungle, seen Celtic beat Real Madrid 2-0, all the European games top middle were where we stood, amazing atmosphere. And Vincent O'Brien says the game that lots of people are synonymous with the jungle. Remember in the jungle, May 79, Celtic beat Rangers 4-2 to win the title. 10 men won the league and all that. I think that's a lot of people's favourite Rangers game. Ryan, even before my time, it was during my time, but I cried because my father wouldn't take me. I was only 6 years of age, and I grabbed onto his leg. I grabbed onto his leg as he left my grand's house in Castlemilk, and he dragged me kind of halfway down a flight of stairs before it was like, right, you need to let go. I was like James Brown being dragged off the stage, I was dragging it off. Go. But no, I didn't go. And many years later, he said he wished he'd taken me, but hey, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? But
that's it, absolutely.
A Monday night it was. There we go. Jerry Smith, that's where we stood. Tony be called at trap 2, number 2 at Celtic end. Yeah, there you go. Bringing a tear to a glass eye, saying, best memory of the jungle, Billy Stark winner and Graham Souness being sent off. There you go. Can't beat that. But I thought we'd fill it with a bit of happy stuff, Ryan, as opposed to pouring over Saturday. But there you go. But also, someone mentions it in the comments as well. Kind of unsavoury instant Saturday. Ryan, some objects thrown at Jota. I think it was a lighter or something.
I think it was a vape.
Aye, yeah. Okay, a vape.
One of those elf bars.
Yeah. You know, that can do a bit of damage if it's coming at you at speed, and it's never nice to see that, is it? Especially, you know, what's it going to take for something to be done? Because a footballer is going to be severely injured at some point by a projectile thrown by supporters. It's going to happen.
That's the thing.
And coins as well. There you
go. Yeah, and that's the thing. You would call it out for any team, not just because it's Rangers. You'd call it out if it was any team that done it, or any section of supporters. Yep. It's just something that shouldn't be involved in the game or happening in the game whatsoever. They've got the vapes do have a wee bit of a weight to them, so if you were to chuck them, then they would hurt if they made an impact. So yeah, you don't want to see that in the game. I would say at the same time, it's very, very difficult to moderate that because they're so easy to bring into games. And you would, if you used one of them, you would bring it into the game with you. So it's difficult to moderate, but you just hope that the relevant authorities are involved to sort of get that sorted.
Yep. And also a couple of comments coming in about the bragging rights comment, Ryan, mentioned on Sky Sports. Saying that Rangers had the bragging rights for the summer. Lots of Celtic supporters taking umbrage to that. What's your take on that?
I just don't think it's right.
I just laugh.
See if you win if you're on course to win every single trophy available to you over the course of a season, I think that's good enough bragging rights for me. You know, if everyone's happy, then everyone's happy with what they've got. But I'll certainly take the 3 trophies if we get them at the end of the season.
I'll take the bragging rights on that one as well, Ryan. The 3 trophies. I think there'll be no more conclusive evidence in terms of the bragging rights. You know what I mean? So, but I did hear that comment on Saturday, and I kind of burst out laughing. There you go. So.
Well, you got further than me because I turned the game off before full time.
And he's going to break your heart, Tony. He's not going to break my heart. I work on the premise that Ange works on, that you never get too close to heroes and you accept that they come and they go. So my heart won't be broken at all if and when the manager chooses to go. I'm just enjoying his stay here and the success that he's brought. He's won 4 trophies out of 6, hopefully 5. But no Celtic player will break my heart again as much as Kenny Dalglish did in '77, and I was 5 years of age then. So yeah, if you can live with that, you can live with anything. So I'm now 50 and don't think anybody's broke my heart since, because I refuse to allow it. You know what I mean? So not even Larson. There you go. Not even Larson. So there you have it. So nobody will break my heart concerning the football club. Working the premise that nobody is bigger than the club. The club goes on, doesn't it? People come and go, and the one constant is the supporters as well. So yeah, but I'll be all right, Paul. I guarantee you. But cheers for that wee reminder, anyway.
That's it. And you've just got to enjoy the times that you've got. Well, I think these results, especially on Saturday, they really put into context how good we've had it this season. That we can only talk about these results maybe happening once or twice domestic, or maybe a couple of results in Europe were disappointing as well. But it shows you how well we've got, or how good we've got it, that these are only a minority, these results, when a couple of seasons ago it seemed as if these results were happening every week. So changed days, but it's just the higher standards. The standards are higher now than they were. So you're obviously going to be disappointed when these results transpire, but we've got it good just now.
They've lost twice the whole campaign. Was that 2 unhappy Mondays? And they drew against 52
is not bad.
They drew against Rangers and they drew against Motherwell. So that was kind of Monday. Kind of whatever Monday. Call that a May Monday. Exactly. Come on. That's what I mean. They get kind of perspective on it. You know, it happens.
Perspective is key. Perspective is absolutely key in this result.
Bad days at the office happen. Do you want it to happen at Ibrox? No, you don't. But I would have been more concerned if they'd been turned over like that in a game that mattered. People say it always matters. It always matters, but I mean genuinely matters. In the games that mattered this season, Celtic turned up and won them all. Or at least got Ibrox in a game where the momentum could have switched in terms of the title race, and they dragged themselves back into it with a late Kyogo equaliser. They won the Scottish Cup semi-final, they won the league game, it was a pressure situation, and they won the League Cup final. People can say, they didn't play well, and all of them. They played better than their opponents because they beat them. So,
absolutely.
If you're going to label that at Celtic, so, and they've hit levels of consistency this season that the manager says are pretty incredible, and I think that too. And over the last few weeks, has there been a drop and tail off in performance? Yeah, I guess there has, but guys are human. They aren't robots, as the manager has said, and you can expect a dip, especially when the finishing line's in sight. So, I would never, as I say, I would never force my opinion down people's throats. I give it because that's the nature of the job and the nature of this context, but each to their own. But, I maintain the perspective on it that it's still been, as decent seasons go, pretty decent. And and if they want to claim the bragging rights, so be it. I'll claim every bit of silverware. Thanks very much. Celtic are one game away from claiming every bit of silverware this season. Cheers. But I think in the run up to the Inverness game, you might see a different Celtic now, kind of rejuvenated Celtic, and having pored over the finer details of that result on Saturday, I think lessons will be learned, because the manager doesn't like losing at all, and he'll certainly not like losing like that. So they'll sort it out, Ryan, in the fullness of time, methinks.
Yeah, if I was a St Mirren supporter, I'd be expecting a bit of a backlash from Celtic on Saturday. I think they're going into the Lions Den and with an angry bunch of Lions after what happened last Saturday. It's one of those ones. You just go into the next game. It's the first game back at Celtic Park since Celtic won the league, so I'm presuming it'll be a great atmosphere regardless. Ange has been talking about the fact that he's wanted a home game to sort of celebrate with the fans. The Celtic fans will be there. I'm sure it'll be a 60,000 sellout, or as many as we can get in terms of home season tickets and other tickets, and then we can all celebrate, because we've got to bask in the glory that is this season. This season has been so good for us. Everyone talked about Ange's second season. All the journalists abroad were saying Ange's second season will be better than his first season, and they were right. Look, the proof is in the pudding, or the trophy cabinet, you would say, at the end of the season. It's been a great season so far, with the potential to get even better. And one blip against Rangers at Ibrox isn't going to change that.
Yes, indeed. There you go. Francis PC Green, trusting the process. It's highlighted Celtic need more for Europe and will strengthen again. And Stephen Lemon saying, main thing is Celtic win the treble now. They won't care about Saturday's result after that. And yes, there you go. I totally agree with that. And as you said, and I think I said, dead rubber winners don't world beaters make, Ryan. So there you go in my piece on Saturday. So I think we can all agree on that. You say Celtic fans will congregate on Saturday, celebrate the title in front of the home crowd. All will be forgotten about last week. Get the chance to rejoice amongst each other with their ain folk, as this saying goes, Ryan. Celebrate with your ain folk, and that'll be a great occasion at Celtic Park Saturday. Trophy presentation day against Aberdeen, last day of the season, will be an even greater experience for everybody that will be there, and then hopefully on to Hampden and win an 8th domestic treble, which will be a world record. Robert Hyland said he doesn't care about Saturday. It wasn't a blip, it was an experiment. There you go. There we go. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today. A bit of pouring over of what can we say, Ryan? A defeat, which is not too usual this season for Ange's team, but some jungle memories as well. But Have a cracking day, everybody. We'll do it all again tomorrow. We'll find something else to talk about. Probably the women's team. We'll big up the women's team, Ryan, and preview the last day of the season there. But as Derek Crawford says here, have a fantastic day, everyone. God bless you all. Indeed, I agree with that sentiment. Ryan, thank you for your contribution today. First class, as always. Guys are saying it's still a happy Monday. Hail, hail, lads. Yes, indeed. Hail, hail to everybody as well, guys. It's still a happy Monday. It is. Still can't get a smile off my face.
That's absolutely. Just a wee quick shout out. I forgot about when I was talking about the players that won the awards. Well done to Ben Summers, by the way, on winning the Young Player of the Year too.
Yes, that's right. We forgot about
the Academy Player of the Year.
Well done, Ben. That was remiss of us to not mention Ben,
who was phenomenal at Ibrox during the week, during last week.
And he's been in a few of the first team squads as well. So well done to Ben. Nice one. Well done, Ryan, and flagging that up. But nice one. Well, guys, thanks very much for your comments. Always appreciate it. Not the happy Monday that we wanted, but it's still a happy Monday. The sun's shining. Weather's taking a turn for the better. Celtic are still champions. Celtic are still League Cup winners. Celtic could be treble winners by June the 3rd. Let that thought entertain you and keep you happy. As to where the bragging rights are, I'll let you decide that. I'll let you guys decide that because you're an intelligent and smart bunch. See you tomorrow. Ryan, cheers, take care. Oh, before we go, flag it up again before you're missing my duty. There you go, guys. Click of a button. You know what to do. If you've enjoyed today and you enjoy reading stuff on the website, subscribe. Hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And for the year, with unlimited access to everything that's written on the web, it will cost you £12. Can't say fairer than that. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. A year for £12. That's a bargain. Get involved in that. We say thank you to everybody that's got involved. As Kevin Ferrier says, we'll leave it with this. It's a happy Monday, Tony, always. Certainly is. Take care. See you tomorrow.